Hey there. So today I wanted to do something a little different. Normally when I'm reviewing things, I'm doing more single product reviews, but I've had such a great time with my MetaQuest 3 and with all the accessories and things that I've gotten for it as of late that I really just wanted to make a review and showcase what I'm regularly using when I'm playing online. A lot of my siblings and some of my family, they went with the MetaQuest 2, and then once the 3 came out, myself and actually my dad, a Gen X guy, he really was into some of the amazing apps that come on the MetaQuest 3, and he turned me on to this. And so some of my first experiences playing online were virtual reality in an augmented space. It was mixed reality or augmented reality, and I've just had a great time with the setup. And so I wanted to talk about each of the things that I've gotten that I just consider must-haves if you're trying to play with your MetaQuest for an extended period, especially if you're hanging out with the in-laws like over the holidays like I was for the weekend, if you're playing games and you want to have the best possible experience. So first and foremost, let's talk about the setup I've got for my headset. This is actually a kind of an amalgam of multiple headsets. I actually combined a few. So if I had to give a description of like what I think the most common variant that looks a lot like this, it would be the Bobo VR. I will link to that in the description. And actually, I'm going to link to everything in the description where you can get all of these different items. So look in my description and I'll have an individual link to all of them where you can get everything. I think this is one of the most affordable setups possible for your MetaQuest 3. And MetaQuest 3S technically, although some of this stuff is only specific to the MetaQuest 3, like the neoprene covering here, which is made specifically for the 3. So first, let's talk about the back. There's a lot of headsets out there. Some of them are better than others when it comes to the battery that will come with it. I really like this one. This is a detachable battery, and this is pretty nice. This one comes with a 7500 milliamp, and this is nice. As you can see, it has a little LED display. This pops in here, and you can charge it. This little cord plugs into the back, and then it sticks onto the side with this little connection, and you can plug it into the side here. This is my go-to battery pack whenever my headset is getting low. And as you can see, I have some backups here. I'm going to talk about those in a second. One of my favorite features of this headset is you can adjust the top. So you have a middle support. I actually modded mine with an elastic as well because I found that was really helpful to keep the whole thing together. You can see the back just goes like this. It's got a nice cushion in the rear here. The front is actually modified where it's got this bar here with this nice cushion, which is great. You have these awesome adjustment pieces here. In addition, you have these little wheels in the front piece, which are connected to this NVNV fan. Let me see if you can hear that. I don't know if you can hear it, but the fan blows out of these right here. This is particularly useful if I'm using my glasses. If I just didn't put my contacts in. I don't always use it. Sometimes I'll put it on one if I'm getting pretty hot and I'm playing a game like I'm standing up, in which case my eyes sometimes get a little dried out if I'm using contacts, but otherwise it's very helpful to have a longer play session. Now, something I want to talk about is the neoprene covering here. I really like this one. This is a really cool kind of geometric shape. You can actually see the outline on the front here. Really nice. Love this cool feature around each one of these. It has a nice covering here. Still lets out the fan openings and some of the lines to keep it cool. And then, of course, one of my favorite parts of this whole thing is actually the way that this moves. So this is actually adjustable, and you can always move this forward as well if you want, like this. So you can see it's adjusting and it's moving the whole thing forward. And that's a really nice feature to have, because if you're trying to adjust and you want it to be closer to your face or whatever, this is really nifty. There is also this little bar here, which is a result of me combining different elements of my headsets to get a preferred model. That's why I recommend the Bobo, because I've tried the Bobo and it's pretty much like this, but even better in a lot of ways. Now, I want to talk about what happens if you've gone through your backup battery. Let's say you don't have extras. I only have one of these. I actually gave some of my backups to my dad, who needed some more than I did, since he was just doing a lot of meditation apps and things like that, and so he really needed that. The neoprene on these is really, really good. I will talk about these. I just want to talk about them before I get into the backups. Right now, if you go and you can see the controllers here, this is how they normally look. And you can see I have a backup, like a rechargeable battery situation on them. So I will link to those. These ones don't last a huge amount of time. I've tried a few models, and I think one of them might be better than others. But what's funny is the left one's battery is fine. It has a great rechargeable. I might have just gotten a bit of a dud with the right one, now that I've had it for about a year. But ultimately, you can see I really like these coverings for a few reasons. One, this is really great because it absorbs moisture and it makes it a lot easier to grip the controllers when you're playing. Long-time enjoyers of VR will already know this, but one thing I really like versus the other ones is this knuckle strap. This is invaluable. If you don't have this, I highly recommend you get this pair. It doesn't have to be this particular model, but I think this one is great for a few reasons. It has this great lining for where you hold the controller. Of course, this is not designed for rechargeables. They do make them, but again, a lot of times if you're talking about, you know, changing out batteries and rechargeables, you can't usually use a neoprene with the charger base anyway, so I didn't much care, because usually I just take it out, stick it onto the rechargeable base, and that's it. And then when I'm ready to play, I just put it back in, and as you can see, it goes on very easily. You just kind of slide it up, and there you go. So that's what I have. I love these. This makes it great so I don't throw my controllers. I can really play really intensely when I'm playing with that. So let's talk about the backups here. This is one of my first ones I ever got, and I actually like this, but it's not my preferred. So as you can see, this is a 5,000 milliamp, and it kind of just straps on to the side, so you can kind of see it would wrap onto the side of the headset. I can actually demonstrate that real quick. So usually you'd put it right over here or so, usually around this little thing here, and this is one of the reasons I'm not as big a fan of it, but sometimes I've just gone and put it onto the side right there. Kind of depends what I'm going for. Sometimes I have kind of fiddled with this and found out that a different approach will work. I think I think I did it right here usually, actually. I think it's just behind this I would go for. Sorry, let me lift it up there so you can see it. Yes, usually I've gone like this. Right here, just feed it in. Not as easy to put on, that's why I'm not as big a fan of it now. This is my first models, and it doesn't work as good as my newer stuff, and I will show you why. So as you can see, it straps on. So that's nice if you already have it up there, or if you're planning to use it. Can be really useful to just have that as a backup battery, especially for a really long session, and let's say you were playing and you didn't want to have like 2 neck batteries around your neck. So that could be useful. And as you can see, we're already talking about 3 backup batteries here. But what I have found is that, oh yeah, by the way, the neoprene on the inside, it does a lot better if you don't have something pressing down on it as much. Just an FYI, I don't find it as big of an issue. I just happen to be kind of fiddling with it. This thing goes here, and then you would plug in the cord. Not my preferred method. The other thing is, this is only a 5,000 milliamp. You would think that a 5,000 milliamp or even a 7,500 would last a while. This one, the 7,500, works a lot better than this one. And that is because 5,000 milliamps is not as much as you think it is. To put it in perspective, these neck batteries right here, which, by the way, these are by far some of the best ever. I've loved these. NEWDERY, I will put the link in the description below. Get these. I use these for everything. For VR, for my Nintendo Switch, everything. I use these constantly now. And actually, I'll probably make another video on my Nintendo Switch setup and talk about some really cool stuff that I've got for it. But this thing right here is unbelievable. You can see it gives you a battery rating. This means for every 4, it's about 2,500 milliamps. This is fantastic. This is super light. It's comfortable with rubber in the middle, and you've got this kind of plastic hard shell around here, and it's got an LED display, which, or I'm sorry, no, this isn't an LED, I'm thinking of something else. This is the little LED light display here. This is just where the logo is. But it has 2 ports. One is strictly output, right? Let me see if I can get it to focus here, right there. And then this one is in or out. Technically, I only really use this for in. So if I'm charging, I put in that one. If I'm playing with it, I put it this way. And sometimes I will change the orientation depending on how I'm wearing my headset. I cannot stress it enough. I don't care whether or not you're getting the MetaQuest or not. This is something you should have in your life. You got a phone with USB-C, right? This connection right here, the fully round one. You need to get this. This is fantastic. I have handed this over to my wife while we're playing Nintendo Switch sometimes, and this has just been a lifesaver because this will last you hours in a lot of cases, and especially like a Nintendo Switch, which is less powerful than the MetaQuest 3. This thing extends your playtime practically indefinitely. Okay, so last thing here is my hard shell. I've gone through a few hard shells now. The biggest thing that I need to get is actually a bigger case. This is what I had when I was first starting, and as you can see, it is quite nice. It has a great mold here for the controllers. Just goes over like this. It's great. And then what I like to do is I will just take this whole thing, place the charger cord here, right in the center console, place this in, and put this down. Oh, you have to shrink it, of course, because it's a little bit long, but you can just do it like this. And then this thing, usually I just wind down, so it doesn't fully close, as you can see. So if you're going for a really big headset, you really should get one that's more of a box layout. That could be better. As you can see, usually I go with something like this, and then I'll put it in my big carrying bag. So, you know, take that what you will. I didn't have all these upgrades and this really big rig, which is very comfortable, by the way. I didn't have this before when I started, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. There's other options online, which are much bigger, which you can get. This is what I have. So that is my my review, trying to put all these things into one of my main setup. I'll probably talk about some of these things more individually down the road, should I have you know, some things to talk about. But as you can see, some of these things didn't necessarily need as much focus. So I hope you enjoyed. Link to get this on Amazon. All these different things will be on Amazon in the description below. Like and subscribe for more reviews. Thanks for watching.